Peppa Pig and the Fun Picnic. Peppa and her family are getting ready for an outdoor picnic. Mummy Pig is driving, while Daddy Pig and the kids are excited. The family arrives at a lush green field, and Peppa and George run outside to explore. Peppa and George play soccer, laughing happily as the ball rolls back and forth. Daddy Pig sets up the campsite and prepares lunch, with Mummy Pig helping beside him. The whole family sits down to eat, enjoying the lunch and fresh air. Peppa and George, along with Mummy and Daddy Pig, arrived at the campsite where a campfire was burning brightly. Peppa and George sat around the fire, watching the flames and listening to the wind rustling through the trees. Daddy Pig roasted marshmallows on sticks and handed them out for the kids to enjoy. George ate the marshmallow and said it was the best treat he had ever had. Mummy Pig sang a cheerful song, and the whole family sang together and laughed under the campfire light. Finally, the whole family lay on the blanket, gazing at the starry sky, feeling peaceful and content together. Peppa Pig and the Painting Day. Peppa and George sat on chairs in the living room, drawing their pictures.
Wow!
Peppa started drawing a house. George drew a cat, both laughing happily. Peppa drew some trees. George drew a few clouds, together creating a colorful picture. Peppa and George added bright flowers around the picture, completing it. Peppa and George admired their artwork, laughing and showing each other their creations.
Peppa Pig and the Hopscotch Dance. Peppa held the chalk, completing the final strokes for square number 10. She stood at the starting line, taking a deep breath full of confidence. The numbers are ready! Peppa is preparing to perform her most skillful hopscotch jump ever. Hop away, Peppa. 1 foot, 2 feet. So skillful. Look how well she balances herself. It was George's turn. He tried to lift one leg but wobbled a little. George jumped with both feet into square number 1 and giggled. George wants to give it a try too. It's a bit tricky, but George is trying his very best. Let's reach the finish line together. Hopscotch not only keeps us healthy, but is also so much fun to play together.
One fine evening, Little Pig was sleeping soundly in his room. But as he closed his eyes and fell asleep, a strange dream began. The little pig opened his eyes and found himself at the bottom of the sea, surrounded by colorful fish and beautiful coral reefs. Little Pig wanders into an underwater garden where sea flowers are blooming and dancing to cheerful music.
Whoa!
The baby pig swims like a little fish and can even surf like a superhero. Everything under the sea is fun and colorful. After a wonderful adventure, Little Pig felt a little tired and decided to return to the real world. The water world gradually disappeared, leaving behind a feeling of relief.
A healthy start to the day. Morning is here. The pig family goes out to the yard to start the new day with lots of energy. Stretch high to welcome the new day. Let's try to touch the fluffy white clouds. Woo-hoo-hoo! Bend down a little, then twist side to side. Exercising helps us have a flexible and healthy body. Now it's time to jog in place. Look, the pig family is working out so hard and happily together. A new day is wonderful when we are healthy. The pig family is ready for today's adventures.
The Magical Weather Battle. Whoa! Peppa and George have some truly magical weather wands. Wow! Peppa loves the bright summer. Look! The sun has woken up! But George wants to play in the snow. Chilly winter has arrived. Oh no! The weather is all mixed up! It's sunny and snowy at the same time! No matter the season, playing together is the best, isn't it?
Peppa Pig and the Backyard Ball Game. Peppa and George went to the yard with a big ball. Daddy and Mummy Pig cheering them on. Peppa kicked the ball. George ran to catch it, both laughing happily.
Aha!
Daddy Pig kicked the ball into the goal. Peppa and George shouted with excitement. George accidentally kicked the ball too hard. It hit a bush. Peppa and Daddy Pig giggled. The family stood in a circle, kicking the ball together, laughing and enjoying the afternoon. Peppa Pig and the Muddy Picnic Day. Peppa and George packed the picnic basket with bread and juice, excited for the trip.
Oh!
Daddy Pig arrived and signaled the family to go out, everyone laughing happily. The family walked to the park. Mummy Pig spread the blanket under a tree, preparing a perfect picnic spot. Peppa and George ran around the grass, accidentally splashing into a big muddy puddle, mud flying everywhere. The whole family laughed. The family sat on the picnic blanket, eating bread and drinking juice, enjoying the sunny day and happy moments together. Peppa Pig and the Rainbow Slide. In her dream, a giant rainbow appeared across the sky. The rainbow turned into a sparkling crystal slide. George slid down first, laughing, while Peppa waved and followed. Mommy Pig and Daddy Pig joined, leaving trails of shining light. It turns out Peppa was dreaming on the green meadow, her smile still shining. Oh, wait. Perhaps Peppa is still dreaming. Peppa and 2 leaves. Peppa walks around the garden. Peppa sees 2 leaves lying on the grass. One leaf is big and one leaf is small. Peppa picks up the big leaf and looks at it closely. Peppa picks up the small leaf with her other hand. Peppa compares the 2 leaves. Peppa puts the 2 leaves on the ground. A gentle breeze blows by. The small leaf starts rolling across the grass. Peppa is surprised and runs after the leaf. George runs over. The leaf stops at his feet. At the same time, Peppa runs up just in time. Peppa picks up both leaves again. Peppa tosses the 2 leaves into the air. The 2 leaves spin and float down slowly. Peppa and George raise their hands to catch the leaves. One leaf lands on George's head. Peppa sees it and laughs happily. George laughs too.
Peppa and the hamburger. Peppa sits on a picnic blanket with a basket beside her. Peppa opens the basket and takes out a hamburger. Peppa looks at the sandwich happily. Whoa! George stands nearby and looks at the sandwich. Peppa holds the hamburger, about to eat. Suddenly, Peppa drops the sandwich onto the blanket. Peppa looks at the hamburger in surprise. George bends down and looks at the hamburger. Peppa picks up the hamburger. Peppa gives the hamburger to George. George holds the piece and smiles. Peppa takes another hamburger from the basket for herself. Then they eat the hamburger.
2 hours later.
Peppa stands up after eating. They run around the yard and laugh. Counting with fruits.
Wow!
Peppa took each apple out of the basket and arranged them in a horizontal row on the table. Counting is fun with sweet apples. Let's see how many apples Peppa has on the table. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 red apples look so delicious. How far can you count? Now, Peppa is sharing these apples with everyone. 1 for each. Let's count backward together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sharing with family makes counting much more meaningful. Isn't learning to count fun?
Peppa Pig and the dancing cake. Mummy Pig is baking a delicious cake today. Peppa and George can't wait to try it. But suddenly, the cake starts bouncing on the table. Peppa jumps in surprise, and George laughs out loud. The cake hops around the house, while Peppa and George chase it, laughing. Daddy Pig wakes up with a start, looks around, then goes back to sleep. Finally, the cake lands on the plate and smiles, as if to say, "Come eat me." The family sits on the porch, enjoying the sweet, silly cake together. What a fun and tasty day! Little Pig and his sister decided to explore a forest that was said to have many strange things. But no one expected that. Today would be a special adventure. As they went deeper into the forest, they came across a giant tree, standing tall in the middle of the road. but not any ordinary tree. Suddenly, a mysterious warning rang out from within the tree. Be careful, darkness is approaching, and things will never be the same again. Suddenly, the atmosphere changed. The shadows of the trees began to move, but it wasn't the wind. Little Pig and Sister Pig ran faster, but the darkness seemed to be unyielding. And in the end, nothing strange happened. Everything was in the sisters' imagination. Peppa the Warrior and the Giant Stone. Something is happening! What's going on? Peppa's friends are running very fast. Oh no! A giant rock is rolling toward them. The rock is rolling slowly down the hill. Peppa and George become heroes. Their bodies grow bigger and they wear warrior costumes. They look very cool and strong. Peppa and George run after the giant rock. They push and push, and finally, they stop the rock. Their friends are safe now. Everyone jumps and cheers. Thank you, Peppa. Thank you, George. Peppa and George think, this rock is dangerous. We need to break it so it cannot roll again. But the rock is very big and very hard. So they ask Uncle Bear to bring a big drill. The drill goes brr, brr, brr. It drills the rock again and again. Crack, crack. The giant rock breaks into many small pieces. Now the rock cannot roll anymore. Everyone is safe. Peppa and George are very happy. They did a good thing today. Peppa Pig and the Clock of Patience. Peppa and George eagerly wait for the cake to bake. Peppa keeps looking at the clock. Why is it taking so long?
Oh.
Suddenly, the old pendulum clock speaks. Be patient, Peppa! George gasps in surprise. The clock ticks softly. Tick, tock. And Peppa watches, learning to wait calmly.
Hey!
When the ding sounds, Mummy Pig brings out the cake. Peppa cheers. I waited. The family sits on the porch, enjoying the warm cake. The ticking clock reminds them, patience brings sweet rewards. Peppa and George spotted a wooden bridge across a stream and decided to cross it. The wooden bridge seemed a bit wobbly, but Peppa is always the bravest one. Sometimes, even a leaf can throw off your balance, but Peppa never gives up. Halfway across, Peppa stops to admire the stream below, but George is worrying about her safety. The bridge shakes a little, but Peppa crosses it successfully. Now it's George's turn. Although George is a bit scared, Peppa is ready to help him face this challenge. Peppa Pig and the Space Adventure. Peppa was lying in bed. The night was dark. Her eyes closed. Peppa dreamed she was flying in space, with the moon shining brightly ahead. George appeared with Peppa. Both stepped into a sparkling flying saucer to travel into space. The flying saucer floated in space. Peppa and George saw planets around them, eager to explore. George woke up in the middle of the night, surprised by the sound of giggles. He turned to see Peppa fast asleep, smiling brightly in her dream, surely on an adventure among the stars. Peppa shares her ice cream. Today, Peppa and George go to the park with Daddy Pig to enjoy ice cream. Oh no! George drops his ice cream. He looks about to cry. Peppa looks at her ice cream, thinks for a moment, then smiles and shares it. They share happily together. Daddy Pig looks proud. Sitting on the porch, Peppa says, sharing makes happiness even sweeter.
Giant egg. In a forest, there were 2 giant eggs sitting next to each other. They looked like they were about to hatch. Suddenly, sounds came from inside the eggs. Clack, 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 pop, pop. Peppa and George were taking a walk when they discovered the 2 giant eggs. They walked closer to take a look and were surprised to hear the sounds coming from inside. Woo-hoo-hoo! Click, 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 click. The egg vibrated, startling Peppa and George. Peppa and George quickly ran to Daddy Pig and Mummy Pig to tell them about the giant eggs. The 2 eggs are still together, so cute. Soon, the whole Peppa Pig family came to see the eggs. Daddy Pig had a great idea to keep the eggs safe. Daddy Pig and Mummy Pig covered the eggs with soft straw to keep them warm and help them hatch. After a while, the giant eggs finally hatched. 2 mischievous baby dinosaurs came out. Whoa! The baby dinosaurs loved the ripe yellow bananas. They jumped around happily and played together.
Peppa Pig and Tidy Up Day. Peppa and George's room. Toys are scattered all over the floor. Teddy bears, balls, and building blocks. Peppa looks around the room, a little surprised. George sits among the toys, happily playing. Mummy Pig walks in smiling. Mummy Pig hands a toy box to Peppa. Peppa picks up a teddy bear and puts it into the box. George picks up a ball, but it rolls away. Daddy Pig comes in from outside.
Aha!
Daddy Pig picks up the ball and hands it back to George. George smiles happily.
Peppa and the hamburger. Peppa sits on a picnic blanket with a basket beside her. Peppa opens the basket and takes out a hamburger. Peppa looks at the sandwich happily.
Whoa!
George stands nearby and looks at the sandwich. Peppa holds the hamburger, about to eat. Suddenly, Peppa drops the sandwich onto the blanket. Peppa looks at the hamburger in surprise.
Uh-oh.
George bends down and looks at the hamburger. Peppa picks up the hamburger. Peppa gives the hamburger to George.
Huh?
George holds the piece and smiles. Peppa takes another hamburger from the basket for herself. Then they eat the hamburger.
2 hours later.
Peppa stands up after eating. They run around the yard and laugh.
Peppa and George were walking through a colorful flower field, surrounded by bright sunflowers and white daisies. Peppa sat down, picked a daisy, and handed it to George, making both of them smile. George held the flower and tried to smell it, but suddenly a gentle breeze blew, making the flower float away. Peppa quickly ran after the floating flower, and George chased after her, both of them laughing. Mummy and Daddy Pig stood by, watching as the kids ran after each other in the flower field, happily watching them. Finally, Peppa and George sat under a big tree in the flower field, looking at the flowers and feeling the simple joy of nature.
The little star catcher. The night is deep. Peppa is sound asleep. But look, a little star is gliding by. Wake up, Peppa. Today, you're going to be a star catcher. Look, stars are falling. Gently, Peppa. Let's catch them. One star, 2 stars. The jar is lighting up. It's magic. Now Peppa has a magical nightlight. Good night, little star catcher. Danny Dog is brave. Danny Dog was walking happily around his town. La 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 la, la 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 la, he sang. Oh no! There was an open manhole on the road. Danny Dog slipped and fell inside. Splash! Splash! Suddenly, Danny Dog saw something and shouted, "Ah, a ghost!" But then he looked again. Oh, it was just a bag of trash. Ha, that's not a ghost. Mr. Bear, the construction worker, was walking around the neighborhood to check everything. Suddenly, he saw an open manhole on the road. "Oh dear, why is this open?" Mr. Bear said. He felt worried because someone could fall in. Mr. Bear carefully looked down into the manhole and shouted, "Hello! Is anyone down there?" But no one answered. Danny Dog stood up and looked for a way out. He walked and walked but couldn't find the exit. He felt a little worried, but he stayed calm. Suddenly, he heard a sound. Clack, 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 clack. Mr. Bear thought, maybe I need to make a loud noise so someone can hear me. Danny Dog followed the sound. He saw a big iron door, but oh no, the door was not the way out. Then Danny Dog's stomach said, "Grr, grr." He was getting hungry. Suddenly, he heard a sound from above. Someone was calling. "Is anyone there? Hello! Knock, 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 knock." Danny Dog looked up and saw a ladder. Hooray! The way out! He climbed the ladder and finally got out of the dark sewer. Mr. Bear continued shouting and making loud noises. Bang! 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 Boom! 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 Danny Dog was safe and very happy. Mr. Bear praised Danny Dog for being very intelligent and brave for overcoming his fear and calmly finding a way out.